Thanks for coming out, everyone. So I'm with Zylotech. We're AI for customer marketing. So basically, we're a customer intelligence firm building a API-based marketing analytics platform. We're a venture-backed team, about 26 people. We've got a really great board of advisors. We have one in the room back there. Hi. And we're rapidly growing. Things are going well. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what we do. So the current enterprise data landscape usually breaks down something like this. There's a lot of providers, and typically they fall into one of these categories. Data. So where's your data coming from? How are you cleansing it? How are you enriching it? How are you making it available for analysis? Decisioning. So once you have all that data ready, when you're pulling it, how do you actually make decisions? How do you find the right segments? How do you find the right cohorts? How do you feed your marketing team? And then delivery. So that's, you've got your list, you've got your segment, you're ready to send your messages. Typically that's the last mile. That'll be somebody like Marketo, Adobe, Pardot. There's many of them. Now this model has worked well for a long time. But in the new data world, it's really starting to creak a little bit. Because as companies get more and more data points, more ways to track customers, more ways to interact, the picture starts to look a little more like this. That big data, it's not adding up to the big insights we all thought it would for some organizations. You know, McKinsey did some research and found that a lot of data scientists are actually spending about 80% of their time just curating and cleaning data. They're not assisting as much as they should be or could be, or maybe want to be, with decisioning or with assisting delivery. We want to solve that, and we're going to do that with AI. So basically, I want to tell a quick story just to give a little context to this. There's a game called Go. It's a Japanese board game, pretty renowned as a strategy game. Google trained an AI to play Go, and they basically challenged one of the world's best at it. I think we all know how the story probably ends. At the end of a tough match, the AI had beaten Lee Sedol, who's one of the champions, 2-1. What he said after the match, I think, is really informative and sort of forms the basis of what we're doing. He said there's huge variations in a Go game. We as humans can't even read 1% of them. We have certain patterns in our minds, right? We have sort of biases, we have things we learned, maybe that trick that worked that one time, we're like, this is going to work forever. Well, an AI is not limited by that. It can read the other 99% of variations, and surprisingly, it took strategies that were completely out of the metagame. Nobody saw it coming. They're like, this is not how you even play this game, but it still beat this champion. And we want to do this in customer data. How we do that is we've built basically an AI platform to power customer marketing. It's run on two engines. You have an AI-driven data engine and an AI-driven analytics engine. So basically it works like a pipeline. You pull your data, we're agnostic to data source, from all of your silos. It goes into this data engine where we basically clean up that data, curate it, analyze it, enrich it, pull in third-party data, and create this master data sheet that basically your AI manages for you. There's a little data scientist intervention in the very beginning as you train this thing, but after that, it's basically self-servicing. From there, once you've got this clean and enriched data, that goes through into our embedded analytics engine, where it draws those deep correlations, it processes that data at a rate and a consistency that frankly humans struggle to keep up with. So basically for a retail company, say somebody like CVS, they've got so many different data sources. They've got their loyalty programs, they've got their point of sale, they've got all these other databases they're pulling from, demographics, things like that. So all that data goes in, and our system actually does churn scoring, propensities, helps with cross-selling, upselling, finding people who are ready for new product categories. Once all this is done, it gets fed out into whatever your delivery system is. So we're not a rip and replace system. Basically, if you're using Marketo, that's fine. We'll just pipe in that data for you. So once that data's in, once your campaigns are out, it's self-feeding. So it tracks the performance of those campaigns as well. So as you come back into the top and you're pulling more data from more analysis, it's got all the results of those prior campaigns. In this way, it's self-reinforcing and gets better year after year, campaign after campaign. So we're primarily an API as a service. Most of our customers will see us within a delivery system. But at the beginning of the year, we did release a UI as we start to look a little more towards the mid-market. Most of our typical customers are enterprise level with large data needs. So we want to take that paradigm of that data, decision, and delivery where it's somewhat fragmented and unify it with a self-learning AI system, something that can take the data scientists and let them curate a little more than be in the weeds, so they can focus more on delivery and decisioning. We've got some results as well. We've had some great customers so far: Daimler Financial, Dell, Staples, Keurig. The list is growing and the results are coming in, and they're pretty great so far. We've seen with some customers 50% increase in product purchases per customer. We've seen great increases in LTV. We've seen great lift. We've even seen really high increases for some in increasing users to customer conversion. So somebody comes in, we give the right recommendations, and we're able to convert and close them. I want to say thank you. I know it's been a lot of talks. We are hiring. We're looking for designers, data people, product people. We're over there with a big orange banner. Thanks for your time, and take a couple questions. I'm actually going to bring up Abhi as well. He's sort of the tech mastermind, or one of them, behind all this, in case we get into the weeds. Any questions? Up front.
Just a customer success story, or just pair for you to give me a kind of an example of how your product has improved a particular customer?
Yeah, absolutely. Abhi, you want to jump in here? He was asking if we could talk a little bit about a customer success story.
Yeah, so typically the way it's helping is, if you know a term called retention marketing. So if you're a customer-centric business and you have tons of customer, but customer definition is very abstract to start with. Who would you call customer? So for an example, you would say, anyone who bought anything from me in the last 2 years is my customer, not just the one in the loyalty system. So once that identification happens, then there's an ongoing tracking. So you end up knowing whether the person who came onto my website apparently was my customer, was a new prospect. The person who did whatever action, you know how profitable that customer is. So the use case is mostly around individualized promotions. We call it as MRI model, which is monetize, retain, and individualize. So basically, you don't get flagged with too many offers you don't care for, and you got to kind of differentiate between your most profitable, most loyal customer, and give them a cart abandonment offer, which is more contextual, versus the other person who may be just a newbie. So, just an idea.
That's great. Thanks. Any other questions?
As a SaaS provider, you're dealing with some large Fortune 100 type customers. Are you pulling in full data or metadata? Because data ingestion into a SaaS solution tends to be one of the biggest obstacles of success, is getting that data to your site, to process it, to get it back for information. How are you managing that with your application?
So what we've done is we've built connector with most of the SaaS solutions. So just on the OAuth, we kind of pull that. But also we do flat file, as long as it's a whole API economy for us. So we have integration with most of the API integration system. I mean, it's still a cloud. What we don't do is, we don't necessarily need the entire historical. We're not MDM, just to be sure. So what we are doing is more for an ongoing basis data feed which is coming in and getting auto unified and auto cleanse and auto enrich, more from a customer analytics perspective. We don't compete with data warehousing or MDM sort of solution.
Customers have been willing to give you their data?
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely just like any other business which involves data, and it is one of our business challenge. But apparently, we're trying to work more with the business user, and most of our pitch is likely that, hey, look, it's high time that when we're trying to use the business user, we're showing the real business advantage versus, creating a sort of a more kind of sexy thing which end up giving some ROI at the many years. So what we're trying to sort of work with more marketeers and marketing ops people, which largely have the customer data access, and what they care is about, relapsing lapsed customer, like reactivating lapsed customer, or making sure that most of their campaign performance goes up. So that's how we're trying to work with more of the business users from a customer success standpoint.
Good time for one more. Who wants to talk data? John.
Yeah. So you're looking for designers. You said that there isn't too much product focus on an interface for actionable insights. Is that a priority in the product roadmap, so that the business users have a dashboard or notification systems to turn them into more curators, as you mentioned?
Sure. So our deliverable, as Joel mentioned, is the API service to power two things. One, a dashboard. So you still see the dashboard. Probably most of our use cases in the Salesforce, but we have our own UI for mid-market where you actually have a live dashboard which is powered by AI. So instead of looking at static reports, like for an example, like these are like collage of this, not the actual home screen, but a collage of many screens. So what you're seeing is basically a live dashboard which tells you, if you're a business like Keurig, how many active customers today you have today. And maybe a week later it may be different. So all those business rules you might have done. What we're looking to ramp up more is we're trying to now diversify from other industries. So we're trying to sort of do some of that piece, and and of course more of the enhancement and things like that.
Thank you.
Great, thanks for the question.
Thank you.